Shalom, Kol Haloyim La, Alahayanawa, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Rakah Kodash. Double honors go to the man of GMS who brought out this word with 144% truth and sincerity. Peace, mercy, and salutations to the 1/3 scattered elect of Yasharallah. Yasharallah being the Paleo-Hebrew name of Israel, which means he's Prince of Power. The name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, which means he is, he exists, he is to be. The name of his only begotten Son is Yahweh Shai, which means he saves, he delivers, he redeems. And Rakah Kodash is the Holy Spirit. Rakah is spirit and Kodash is holy. And the word holy means to be separated, to be sanctified, to be sane, to be cleansed. And the 12 tribes of Israel are the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native American, and Seminole Indians scattered throughout the 4 corners of the world, but primarily found here in Mystery Babylon the Great. That was founded in 1776 with its unrighteous decrees, pursuant to Isaiah 10:1. Woe to those who decree unrighteous decree. Examples of unrighteous decree are like slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, and that perpetual hatred that Esau, so-called white man, has towards Jacob, the so-called black man, the dark-skinned man. No such thing as a black man, no such thing as a white man. Those were social construct terms that were invented in 1681 in the state of Virginia, and it spread out throughout the world. It caught on fire. Because before, the so-called Europeans that came over here, before that time, they didn't refer to themselves as white people. That's a term, like I said, that was made up in 1681 in the state of Virginia. And it caught on worldwide. So I don't really have anything prepared. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Isaiah 14. So I'm going to start reading here. Once again, all praises to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahushai Bahashim Rakah Kodash, Abba Nawa, our Father. For the Lord will, this is Isaiah 14, KJV. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. So there's a couple of things here. And if somebody sees it that I'm incorrect on something, please edify me and correct me if I'm speaking out of order or of the breaking down of this information. So we see here, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. That phrase right there, will yet choose Israel, it's like he always chooses Israel. No matter what, even though we went off, he still always chooses Israel. He chose us to put us into, according to Deuteronomy 28 from 15 on down to 68, the curses. He chose us to do that because we went off. We didn't stay on that straight way path. We went away from following his law, statutes, and commandments. We started going into the other cultures, other deities of other nations. So it says here, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel. That means, again, choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers, now this word strangers doesn't mean like outsiders outside of the nation of Israel. It means, well, hold on. In this case, I think it does. And set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. So these strangers are the Israel foreigners. The Israel foreigners who became like the other nations. An Israelite that went unto the other nations, they became like them. They got amalgamated. They got Hellenized. They became like the Greeks. Even now, when someone goes outside of their nation and they start absorbing the culture of that other nation, they become like those nations. They become like those strangers. That's what it means in this verse when it says, and strangers, where is it? And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. You can only cleave back to something like the Apostle Paul says, like the olive, the wild branch, if you are of that branch. You have to be of that. You have to be of that to go back into that. You can't be in it if you were never part of it. An apple cannot go to the orange tree and say, hey, let me join you. Let me join you guys. You have to be of that seed. You have to be of that genealogy. That's what in this verse means strangers. Because you have strangers, you have Gentiles. You have 2 types of Gentiles. You have Israelite foreigners that are Gentiles, and you have the actual Gentiles who are outside of the nation of Israel. Actual Gentiles. People ignorantly say, and thinking that they're saying the truth, but that's what the word ignorantly say, meaning that they think they're saying the truth. A non-Jew is a Gentile. And first of all, that word Jew comes from the word Judah, which is Yahwadah. Thanks, praise to the Most High, Yahwadah. That's short for Judah. That's why I say Judah. And the time that Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls JC, that's not his name, that's not his title. His name is Yahushai, the Hamashiach Shar Yasharala. That's the Messiah of Israel. When he was here, in that time, you had the southern kingdom here. The southern kingdom was still in the territory of Jerusalem and the surrounding areas. They were still there. The southern kingdom, Judah. The northern kingdom had already gone into exile with the Assyrians, Babylonians, and what have you. They had already gone into exile. So you didn't see the northern tribe, the northern kingdoms much anymore. And the ones that stayed originally were Judah and Benjamin. The Levites came back because of the laws, because they needed Levitical priests to come back and to start setting forth the laws of the Most High. Because that's another topic right there, but just in a nutshell, the Levitical priests, the Levites came back. So then you had Judah, Benjamin, and Levite on the southern kingdom when Yahushua was here, the one who died on the cross for the nation of Israel. And right now he's only dealing with the elect. You've heard of the God of Israel, but have you heard of the Israel of God? That's Israel. That's another title for the elect, the 144K, and the innumerable, the innumerable. I'm not saying it right. The innumerable. In other words, the elect that we have, it's men, women, and children. 12,000 from each tribe, and also the innumerable people, the innumerable number of people that you see in the book of Revelation. So we're going on with this. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land. So in this case, it says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. So who's their place? That's the nation of Israel. That's their place. That's their promised land. And it says, and the house of Israel shall possess them. When you possess somebody, that's slavery. When you possess somebody, that's slavery. And it says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord, the promised land, for servants and handmaidens. You're going to have people for servants and handmaidens, and they shall take them captives. The nation of Israel is going to take the outside nations as captivities, because we were under their captivity. It says, and they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So the slavery throughout the course of history, from a certain time, every nation had a part in dealing with the servitude and slavery of the nation of Israel, all the 12 tribes of Israel. Every nation had something to do with it. People might say, well, we didn't actually have slavery. You had something to do with it in trading with the cargo, the ships, whatever. You had a hand in it. You had a hand in it, and you probably did have some slavery. Whether you did or didn't, every nation out there had a hand in servitude of having Israel in slavery. So we have this, and it shall come to pass in the day the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage. That's slavery. The hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. And so I'm going to talk about that hard bondage. The house of bondage is another name for Egypt. The house of bondage is another name for Egypt in the Old Testament. That's what Egypt means, a house of bondage. And in this case, here in the Americas, also known as Egypt, Sodom, Arsareth, Babylon, Mystery Babylon the Great, we served hard slavery here. What happened to the Aztecs, Mayas, and Incas and the surrounding tribes, that happened, the slavery happened to us. I'm from the tribe of Issachar. What people would refer them to, that's where the Aztecs came from. That happened to us. We were caught in slavery by the so-called white man, by our oppressor, the so-called white man, which is, he's not white, he's an Edomite. Sounds like a phrase, a song. He's not white, he's an Edomite. Edomite is not white, but he's an Edomite. They're the descendants of Esau. Esau and Jacob were not identical twins, but perpetual twins. Yeah, one came out dark, one came out light. They didn't look like each other. So Esau and Jacob were perpetual twins. think I'm saying that right. Non-identical was my point. So that perpetual hatred, which means ongoing, that's the hatred, that racism that you see from the so-called white person that has against Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel, which people ignorantly call black, Hispanic, Native American Indians. When you see the trajectory, the percentage of the minorities in here, the majority of the population before the so-called white man were the so-called natives, which that's Issachar, that's Gad, those are the Reubenites, Simeon. They were here 1,000% of the population, and now it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to give any facts, but I don't think it ain't no 1,000% anymore. Maybe 1% of the population are from the so-called natives in this country, in this land. What happened there? So-called white man came and destroyed. He came, conquered. He raped, robbed, murdered, and pillaged everything that was here. He raped, robbed, murdered, pillaged everything that was here. He just took over. Because it's never enough for him. It's never enough. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, that would be the president, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Yeah, the golden city. That's Mystery Babylon the Great, with all its glory, all its glamour, all the opportunities that here with self-entrepreneurship, that people will risk their lives coming over here, risk their family, risk their jobs, risk their careers just to get over here, the land of opportunity. It's still the land of they say the land of the free, the land of the brave, and I say it's the land of the free, which are another people, and the land of the slave. Let me read a little bit down here. Let me see if I can catch something here. Let's see. Oh yeah. I don't know how I could have forgotten this one. It slipped my mind. Isaiah 14:21. Prepare slaughter. Let me see. Hold on. See if I can get this. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. So here, prepare slaughter for his children. Who his children? The enemy of the 12 tribes of Israel. The primary enemy is Esau, so-called white man, the Caucasian. He has that perpetual hatred, that racism towards us. He always has had it ever since he lost his blessing. And there was nothing he could do about that blessing, because he wasn't tricked into it. He was supplanted into it. He was replaced. He gave it up for his morsel of meat, red morsel of meat. He sold it. Basically what I'm trying to say. Esau sold it. He wasn't tricked into it. He sold it. He said, what good is this blessing to me if I'm just starving? I'm roughly paraphrasing. So Jacob said, sell me your birthright. And so Esau's thinking about it, so-called white man. He's saying, well, what good is this birthright to me if I'm going to be dying of hunger? So you can have it. So there it is. There was a trade. He sold it. He sold his birthright for the red portions of red. And that's him. He's red. So-called red man. When a so-called white man gets mad, he turns red. When he goes out in the sun, he turns red. When he gets hot, he blushes, he turns red. You cannot turn dark. You need pigmentation on your skin to turn dark. You cannot turn into something that you don't have. That's why dark-skinned people or light brown-skinned people, they'll get darker because they have that pigmented to turn dark. But if you don't have that pigmented, melanated skin, you cannot turn dark. You cannot turn into something that you don't have. It says here, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I, that's Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, the name of the Father is Yahweh, the name of his only begotten Son is Yahweh Shai. For I will rise up against them. Yeah, the Lord loves everybody, right? For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut. And that word host means armies, like Michael and the angels. That word host means armies. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon, that's AKA USA, the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. Man, he's going after the whole bloodline, the male bloodline, and the females too. Whatever blood, if you're that bloodline, your nephew, your son, it says the remnant, the son and nephew, saith the Lord, from Babylon. The name, the remnant, son and nephew. Yeah, you are the house of your fathers. You are the house of your fathers. So whatever your father is, that's what you are. You cut off the father's bloodline. You cut off that literally that his house. Yeah, you'll have females there too, but they're gonna be cut off too. It is what it is. Hopefully you guys were edified. Kwam Yasharala. Kwam means rise.